So I want to talk about my anime list and how I don't think that there's another site on Earth that makes me feel so happy and so depressed at the same time. And let me preface this, I guess, by saying that I've only been really active on Mal for the last couple years. I didn't use it for a while, or if I did use it, I used it sporadically. So I'm not really part of the community of forums and so forth on there. I just kind of use it as a statistical database of what I have watched, what I want to watch, and what I think of stuff. Occasionally, I'll put a blog post up there or something, but something I should do more. But I don't know. Just sometimes don't have time. So it's mostly just for keeping record. If you have no idea what Mal is, you should probably check it out, but at the same time, you probably shouldn't. So My Anime List is a website that basically chronicles, it keeps record of, you could look up basically any anime you could think of. You can, once you make an account, you can say, I watched 26 out of 26 episodes of this show, I finished it, and you could score it from 0 to 10 or whatever. And then it keeps a record of that, and you can keep doing that for everything that you have ever watched. And it'll give you an exact number of episodes that you have watched, an exact number of movies you have watched, OVAs, and so forth. It's actually pretty statistically impressive, I would say. It covers a lot of areas. It has changed a lot over the years, even though I was using it sporadically. I still remember the days when you could count, it still counts your rewatches, but you used to be able to put if a show was 10 episodes but you'd seen it twice, you used to be able to put 20 out of 10, and it would count that as you watching that twice. But you can no longer do that. You could say that you've rewatched the show once again, but so kind of the same thing, but whatever. So Mal is this stat site for anime fans, and it has a lot of forums and stuff on there. And you can imagine how anime forums can go. I kind of try and stay away from those. I like to use my channel as my forum, my place to express, I guess. But some people just want to type some shit on Mal and get people triggered. So that happens. And then other people write very detailed reviews on Mal. There are several cool aspects of Mal where people have taken the time, and they are very dedicated to making sure that the shows that they love get promoted, which I am all for. Now, I really like My Anime List. Without it, I feel like I would be scrambling to write down stuff, and I would definitely forget about shit that I have watched. In some cases, that's probably a good thing, but I think it's a good thing. And I guess let me talk about why it makes me happy. It makes me happy because I love that there's just this well-crafted, put-together list of everything I've seen and everything I've read. It also keeps track of manga as well. Everything I've read, everything I've seen, everything I've thought was terrible, everything I thought was good, or maybe if I don't even remember it, I might not even score it. It's like my own little memory bank for all the shows that I've watched. And I'm someone that seeks to watch as much anime as I can while also having some other hobbies and a job and shit. So I mean, I don't spend 20 hours a day watching anime, but I would, having a rather large Mal account would be something I consider a goal at some point, I guess. Right now I am sitting at, let me see, I believe it is 162 completed shows. And then a whole bunch are dropped, but 162 completed shows, and I mean, I'm kind of proud of that. It shows how much time I've actually put into it. It'll actually put it into days and hours and stuff like that. So if you're into that, if you're into put together statistics about your hobbies, My Anime List I think is definitely for you. I know there's other sites that do stuff that's similar. But I only have experience with My Anime List, and it's pretty good. It makes me happy in the sense that I can keep track of everything that I've watched. I can keep track of everything that I want to watch. I can keep track of stuff that I've put on hold. Maybe if it's something that's really long or something. or if someone mentions a new show to me, I can immediately look it up in here. Sometimes it'll be in its like Japanese title, but generally if you type in like like Yona of the Dawn, like if you just start to type that, well, I mean that doesn't really work because Yona's in the name, but it'll come up with Akatsuki no Yona. But a lot of the time it'll come up with whatever the translation is. It's pretty good about that. So it makes it pretty simple to find a very wide majority of anime. Now it also does have criteria as to like what it counts as anime. I always bring up the fact that it does not count The Red Turtle, which is a film from like a year or 2 years ago, I believe, that, if I remember correctly, was made by a Dutch staff, I think, or some European staff, but I believe it also had Japanese people working on it. But MAL does not count it as an anime. I mean, I guess that's a different argument to be had on what's anime and what's not, but I would kind of count that. I don't know. It's pretty anime-y, I would say. But perhaps that's an argument for another discussion. So I love how I have this just comprehensive list of everything that I've seen. Everything that I want to see, what I thought of it, how many episodes, how long did I make it through. Sometimes that's depressing because it's like, wow, I spent like 13 episodes watching this shit before I dropped it. Like, that's kind of sad. But let's get to the depressing factor of this. Is the fact that my anime list, for me, is a never-ending pit, or like a black hole. Because I am someone that constantly adds shit to watch. And I'm constantly watching a whole bunch of stuff. I am not someone that stays dedicated to one thing. Commitment, not a huge thing for me. I'm like that in a lot of aspects of life. I'm not super like brand loyal. I'm not really. I mean, I have like obviously I have like favorite shows, but there's nothing that like I follow like religiously. There's not really, as much as I like certain characters or something like that, I wouldn't like cosplay as certain people from like favorite shows. I'm not a fanatic, I guess, about like one particular thing. More so like a collective of a lot of different stuff. And me being as insane as I am never watching less than, I would say, 3 or 4 shows. Look at my list right now. I'm currently watching 6, and this might not even be like fully updated. Those being March Comes in Like a Lion, 2nd season, How to Keep a Mummy, Monster, Sakamoto Desu Ka, Yu Yu Hakusho, and Legend of the Galactic Heroes, which I probably should put on hold list because it's been a while since I've honestly seen an episode of that, but I have seen 8 of them. But, so I have all of those shows as currently watching. Now, that doesn't count as movies. I generally try and watch at least one anime film, if not every week, every month. So it doesn't count those because I just sit and watch those in one sitting. Those are probably unplanned to watch. So I'm watching a whole lot of shit at once. And ideally, and I've tried to do this before, I would organize it so that way I watched, like, Monday night I watch this show, Tuesday night I watch this show, Wednesday would watch this, and you would think that would like be alright, but then I like come home, and then I got other stuff to do, and then I end up like doing other stuff, or I watch something completely different and add something else to the show, or, you know, I just sit around and play video games or something, and, you know, that Tuesday show didn't get watched, so then it's behind, and then like I kind of feel bad about watching the Wednesday show after that, so then I'll just not do that, or whatever. And more shows will get piled on. So long story short, I guess I'm disorganized and I'm bad at staying focused on a certain show. Unless I'm like writing up a review for it, then in which case I'm pretty like dedicated to it. But if it's a show I don't think I'm going to review, especially something like older or something that's like highly praised, that I feel like me making a review isn't like worth my time, because what am I going to say that hasn't already been said? Those kind of shows, I guess I admittedly pay less attention to, and they can kind of get lost in the void. But speaking of the void, the true void is my plan to watch list. Now this, I keep this statistically at 50. Sometimes it'll be like 45, sometimes it'll be 40, but I try to keep attention to it enough, pay attention to it enough that I have around 50 shows on here, and I don't go above that. If I have 50 and then I'm like, oh, I want to like add this shit, I make sure I knock a movie out that's on here or something like really short. I do not, for some reason, I like it capped at 50, a nice even number, and and that's also counting like multiple seasons of shows, which Mal can sometimes count as like different things. But I try and keep it at 50. It's at 50 right now, and there's movies and shows included and so forth. But the part that's like depressing about that for me is I know I'm doing this to myself, but this is never going to fucking end. And I guess there's a positive to that in the fact that this is never going to fucking end, because, I mean, there's always going to be anime to watch. I am going to kick the bucket someday, and there's going to be some cool shit that I never saw. And that's kind of sad, so that's why I keep adding so much stuff to the list, so that way, hey, maybe I'll see most of the good stuff. I can hope, even though that's not going to happen. There's going to be so much good anime after I'm gone, and even while I'm alive, there's going to be so much cool shit that I never saw, which is sad, but it's true. And I guess it's my everlasting fight against that reality that I try and plan to watch so much shit. And I mean, part of it is like stuff that people like say is like really good that like everybody should watch or something like that like I'll put off for a while. Something like Haibane Renmei or Kokoro Connect or like Wolf Children. It's just a movie I should just watch at some point, but I still haven't yet. So yeah, some of it's stuff like that just gets on here and just like sits forever. And I mean, it's kind of depressing, but I mean, I'm hoping that I knock all of this out at some point. There's nothing on here that's been here like a crazy amount of time. Like, besides like really long, like Legend of Galactic Heroes was on here for like a while, but like I eventually like started that. But if it's I generally don't keep stuff on here for very, very long. It kind of like rotates. And I'll even like take stuff off here like without watching it, to be honest. Because sometimes I'll just be like, man, why was I interested in that? Or I'll find out that like it has a follow-up season that like is widely shat on or something, which probably shouldn't base my opinion on like the consensus, because sometimes they're pretty dead wrong. But once again, I just don't have time. Like if I can just live forever and watch every anime, then I wouldn't even need the stupid list thing. But I need this. I need it in my life, man. So yeah, it's this never-ending thing that I built up this pillar, and I'm like complaining that it exists, and so I find that kind of interesting, in the sense that it's like I don't know I don't know what my goal is. Like I don't have like an amount of like shows that I would consider like wow. Because there's always going to be people that watch like a show every day or like two, like just people that just watch anime and that's all they do. Because there's definitely people like that, and I am not one of those people. As much as I love anime, I like a lot of other stuff in the world too. So I can't dedicate that much time as those people do. I'm not doubting their passion. I mean, good for them. I don't want to be like that, so I guess I'm looking for the middle ground. I guess I'm looking to be someone that has a relatively high completed anime thing. I don't know, like 300, 500, like double. Like I finished 160. I'd like to be like double, but I also don't know like a time frame for that, because sometimes I'll go like a week without watching anything, and then sometimes I'll watch 2 or 3 shows within a week. So like, I don't know. I'm just a crazy person. I think Mao is probably created by crazy people for crazy people. It's kind of like a theory that I have, and if any of you are like that, please like let me know. It's just this never-ending thing. And now I also know people that like 50 is not an absurd thing. Like some people say, like, oh, you have so much on your like plan to watch list, but it's really, I've seen people with like 300 on there, and like that's just like nuts. Now, I mean, I know you could just tell me that like if I just keep doing 50 over and over again, eventually, it's going to add up to 300, and maybe it'd be smarter just to put 300 on there once. But that would be so daunting and would bother me so much just to have this giant freaking thing. I'd rather, 250 of those plan to watch shows be invisible and just not think about them until they've cracked the 50. They've made it to that 50 shows to watch. And I also say watch, not necessarily complete, because many things that end up on this plan to watch list end up just not being finished at all. I drop a lot of shit. I have shows on my plan to watch list that I do not anticipate finishing from the get-go. Like I have like Love Live on there, mostly because I went to Japan and Love Live is fucking huge, and I don't know why, and I want to know why. So I'm gonna probably try and watch the first season of that. And I don't think I'm going to make it through. Don't quote me on that. Maybe I'll think it's the greatest anime of all time. But if you go to Japan, and I went to Akihabara expecting that there would be a whole lot of fucking cool anime shit, and there was, but it was like 99.9% fucking Love Live. And what's the other Idol Master. It's like all Love Live and Idol Master, and I don't really know why. They definitely don't have like older shows like very often for sale there, or like cool, like as much as I thought there would be. So my anime list, it's a cool thing, but I mean it's also kind of depressing because it's just this void. But I highly recommend that you use it if you don't yet, for just basically the reasons of you can keep stats on what you've seen, and even if you're not into that, it's just literally just like a if you don't even have to put the episodes, like you can just put that like you finished it or whatever. And you don't even have to rate it. It could just be a name by name list of everything that you watch, or you could just do like stuff that you plan to watch. Maybe that'll help you out. You could also be careful doing this. You can find people in the community to talk about the shows that you love with. There are forums for pretty much every show. There's reviews pretty much for every show that you can like comment on. You could say like I found this helpful or whatever. You could write like blog posts. You could do a whole lot of shit on here. It's a pretty cool thing. I do recommend running ad block on it because it kind of has a insane like it can have like insane pop-ups and stuff sometimes. I can't pull it up on mobile because I don't have ad block on my phone because I just don't. As far as I know, it doesn't exist. Maybe it does. And anytime I pull up my anime list on my phone, it destroys my phone with like 3 or 4 tabs of pop-ups, and I'm not gonna deal with that. But yeah, my anime list, pretty cool thing. I think beneficial to the anime community and beneficial to me, but it also hurts because it's just a list of 50 shows that I could just give up on this list and just watch whatever and be way less stressed, but I need it. I'm addicted to my anime list, I guess. I'm addicted to the structure. I'm addicted to the statistics. I'm addicted to researching what I want to see and just having the information readily available. I guess that's like the curse of being a millennial anime fan. But let me know down below what you guys think of my anime list. As always, this is Miasma, the Bearded Senpai, signing out.